It has been nearly 13 years since Kyron Horman disappeared.
His mom has not given up her search since the then 7-year-old went missing from his elementary school in Portland. Fox 12's Drew Marine sat down with Desiree Young this evening, who says she won't stop until she has answers. Drew?
Yeah, Kyron Horman was last seen here at Skyline Elementary on June 4th, 2010. His mom drives up to the Portland area at least once a year, if not more, to work with law enforcement to keep this case active and to bring him home.
My life didn't really move on. My mission stays the same, and until I get to bring Kyron home, I just keep fighting for him.
This is what Kyron Horman looked like when he was 7 years old. And this is what he might look like today at 20 years old. This new age progression photo from the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office, a heartbreaking reminder of all the milestones his mom, Desiree Young, hasn't had with her son over the last 13 years.
That's really hard for me to feel and see and, all the things, because I feel like he mostly, but we missed out on all of the growing up and all of the kids stuff and riding with chalk on the sidewalk and riding his bike.
Kyron was last seen at Skyline Elementary School back on June 4th, 2010 for a science fair. He was wearing a black CSI t-shirt, black cargo pants, and may have been wearing his glasses. Even though he may look different now, Young hopes this updated age progression picture can help spark new leads in this case, which remains open and active.
It just takes one person seeing him, one person to recognize him, one person to turn in that tip, and then we might get to bring him home.
Young drives up to the Portland area often to meet with the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office and says the new sheriff, Nicole Morrissey O'Donnell, has given her more hope than she's had in a long time.
The new sheriff is very energetic and dedicated, and she's done a lot of things just in the short amount of time she's been with us. And I'm really hopeful that it's her who gets to bring it to the finish line.
Even though it's more than a decade later, she says it can be difficult to hold on to that hope.
It's a roller coaster every day. Driving up here, I was listening to a song, and it's one of Kyron's songs, and it makes me cry every time. And I wish that we could dance to it again together. I will always hope that he is going to call me.
Okay, here we are, our last case. It's out of order, so people listening to our podcast, this is actually, I think, the second to the last case, but...
I'm Mom.
And I'm Sherry. This is Outline of a Murder. Did I throw you off a little bit?
Yeah, because I was going to say about my punch.
Well, yes, I'm ready.
Yeah, it's
so
called
you tell me
Janine's
this.
Punch.
Oh, so you have
Tropical punch.
Oh, so you have a drink after yourself.
Well, it was another recipe from a bar, and I didn't want to use their name.
So you just made it your own?
Yeah.
Very good.
Thank you. It's a little sweet, huh?
This is the best drink so far.
Oh, I don't know. The cocoa was good,
There's
too.
your stupid clot.
I love that clot.
I'm going to have to give this a 5, Mom.
Thank you. Thank you, daughter.
Very, very yummy. Okay. Finally, huh?
Right.
drinks this. The only thing I could think of that was good was the poppy.
Oh, that was good.
And then the
Just the
watermelon hard cider that Elena almost vomited all over the table after she took a drink.
That wasn't that good, though. That was watery.
Whatever. It was good. Mm-hmm. Okay. This case is probably going to be one of the most controversial for our listeners.
But worse than Dolly or Darlie?
Darlie.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had too much to drink, I guess.
Because I have a completely different opinion on the majority of opinion out there. Wow. Goodness.
You're talking, I'm drinking.
That should be a t-shirt.
Right.
You're talking, I'm drinking.
Right.
This one is going to be a tough, probably again because of the guilty or not guilty opinion. The primary suspect that most people have for this case does look like someone who could have done it. I would love to have the timeline cleared up as well. There's some things in there that are a little bit sketchy. I don't feel like there's enough time for the crime to be executed. So we're talking about the case of Kyron Horman, the little boy that disappeared from school on June 4th, 2010.
I don't know that one. I'd have to see the pictures.
Yeah.
The parents.
He, the
So
story.
cute.
Yeah. He is a cutie patootie. And the story is a really sad one, but it is such a mystery. And as we go through the story, you're gonna see why most people think this one individual did it. And I'm going to tell at the end why I think she did not.
Okay.
Okay?
Right.
But and here's something to keep in mind when you have the true crime community, you have the armchair detectives. And we've talked about this. I have seen true crime shows where you are like, this person did it. They're acting suspicious. They have the opportunity, they have the motive, they have the means, and it wasn't even anybody on the radar. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They weren't even in the murder book. And they're like, what? And the way they were able to solve the cases, like 20 years, 30 years, whatever later, is DNA.
DNA, yep.
And so it makes me wonder how many people were convicted of crimes they did not commit.
I don't even want to think about that.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me wonder. So let's dive into this one. Like I said, it was June 4th, 2010. Is Stephen here?
No.
Okay.
She's doing laundry.
This was a big day for little Kyron, age 7. It was a science fair at his school at Skyline Elementary in Portland, Oregon. Mm-hmm. He had created a green poster board display featuring the red-eyed green frog, which I have a picture of that. So let me bring it up. Oops. There he is.
How cute.
So that was his board. Look how big it is.
Yeah.
Like that's a school desk. So you can imagine he's standing in front of it and he's only going up to the poster right there.
Is that his work or a combination? A little bit help. I'm going to say it's 7 years.
But look at his little
he's
face.
so proud.
And he's wearing a CSI t-shirt.
Oh.
So he was very proud of his little poster, it wasn't little, his red-eyed frog. And his stepmom,
so cute.
Terry Horman, used her husband's pickup, his dad's name is Kane, to take him to class early so he could set up his project for the fair. So let me get a picture of, because that's his mom. Let me see if I can find a picture of Terry. Okay, so this is the dad and him.
Right. Oh, look at that smile.
This is him when he was little. That's his mom. Mm-hmm. And then I'm trying to find here it is. And then this is Terry. So,
stepmother.
Yeah, she's a stepmom. That's their new baby, her and Kane's. And then there's little Kyron. And so it seemed like things actually were pretty good in the step world.
Right.
She seemed to legitimately care about Kyron. And normally he rode the bus, but, you saw the huge,
yes,
board that he did his school project on. So he wouldn't have been able to carry it. It would have been way too big for the little critter. So she borrows the pickup because I think it'd be kind of hard to put in a car too.
That's so cute. That's a good looking family.
Yeah.
Smiling.
Yeah. And I think that is her son from a previous marriage, I believe. So
oh yeah, and that's his son from a different marriage?
Yeah, so Cain, Kyron is his son, and that was with, let me show you the picture.
Her.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he's a cutie patootie. Now, there's already some confusion for me on the time of the fair. Terry's role was to help him set it up, I believe have the fair, and then she was going to take the board home because he couldn't take it on the bus.
Oh, right.
And
it's a big board.
And some reports say the fair wasn't until 1 p.m. Other reports say that it was a pre-class fair. So classes that day were going to start at 10 a.m. And so the fair was before the classes, and she was supposed to take the board home before 10 o'clock.
Okay.
However, she did not take the project home.
Oh, why?
I don't know. And I'm not even sure if it points to guilt. I just know that she borrowed the pickup to take Kyron and his school project to the school. And supposedly she was supposed to take it home after the class fair before 10 o'clock, but she didn't. So I don't know, was this a rumor that she was supposed to take it back? Was she supposed to and she forgot? Was she supposed to get it the next day?
Well, it would make sense you'd take it back if you're there.
Yeah, it would. But I think she left before, actually, the fair even started. So it's in my notes. We'll get to it because I wrote the script months ago. Now, if the fair wasn't until 1, then obviously she's not going to take it home at that time. So he was very proud of his project. He had this huge smile on his face. He's wearing that, CSI t-shirt.
That's cute.
This is the last photo of Kyron. Let me get back up there.
Oh, that is?
Yep, that's the
How
last
old
photo.
is he, 7?
Mm-hmm. Terry, Kyron, and his half-sister Kiera, that's the baby, she was a toddler at that point, arrived at the school at 8 a.m. Both Kyron and Terry are seen in front of Kyron's exhibit at 8:15 a.m. by the PTA president, Gina Zimmerman. This is around the time that Terry took this photo of Kyron next to his event.
Right.
At 8:45, Terry watches Kyron walk down the hallway to his math class before she leaves the school. Initially, a student stated that he or she saw Kyron near the school's entrance at 9, but later that was rescinded, and I'm not sure why.
Because she had the baby with her, maybe that's why she didn't take it. She was going to pick it up later and maybe pick him up from school.
Yeah. Well, so if she leaves at 8:45, and if the fair is at 10 or 1, it doesn't make sense for her to take it home.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, true.
That's where it gets confusing in the timeline. Is I'm like, okay, that's important because it could point to she's got one thing on her mind, and that's to get rid of this kid, right?
Right.
But she doesn't take it, and it could be as simple as they still needed it for the class fair. Mm-hmm. So here's a timeline, and I'm sure you're already, from me just describing this little bit, seeing that most people believe Terry did something to Kyron.
Well, I haven't heard anything.
She's the last one to see him.
Yeah.
Supposedly, she didn't take the project home like she was supposed to. So right off the bat, everyone is believing that Terry did something to this child. Okay?
Of course they are.
So she
leaves. I
leaves.
don't see anything yet.
I don't either. So she leaves the school at 8:45. She arrives at 9 a.m. at a Fred Meyer store to pick up some medication for Kiera because she had an ear infection. Mm-hmm. She accidentally went to the wrong Fred Meyer the first time. So by 9:30, she arrives at the second Fred Meyer and she picks up her medication.
Let me just say that does happen.
It does.
I've gone to a CVS and it's at the other one. So yeah, it can happen.
At At 10, Terry drops off her husband's dry cleaning. Mm-hmm. At 10:10, she stops at a Michael's craft store. Remember when they had those? I don't know if they still do.
have them, yeah.
Okay. We had one where I live, and it's been gone for years.
Oh, it has?
Mm-hmm. At 10:39, she takes a phone call, but they've not released publicly who the phone call was with. At 10:10 to 11:39, so that would be an hour and 29 minutes, Terry says that she was driving around because the smooth motion made her sick baby feel better.
Well, I wonder why they wouldn't release the call.
I have no idea.
Well, I mean, that's important because if they're not going to release the call, it could prove that she was, it was an innocent call. There was nothing suspicious. She was on the line.
Well, probably. But what I'm most concerned with is you're driving around for an hour and a half.
That's a little long. I've known people that drive around with infants, but not usually that long.
Yeah, I did. So I'm thinking that, I drove Ken around when he had colic, but not that long. Usually it was maybe 30 minutes.
Well, wait, was it in the day?
Yeah.
Oh, I might.
AM, you might?
Yeah, just to look around, see things, just get something to eat maybe. I could see maybe.
Well, she didn't stop to get anything to eat. She said that she was driving around to make her daughter feel better. I'm thinking she maybe gave her the medicine once she picked it up, and then she was making phone calls. She was driving around. Here's where it gets a little bit weird, though. So at 11:39, she goes to the gym, leaving her sick daughter at the on-site daycare center.
Oh.
And then at 12:20, so about 30 minutes, both of them leave the gym. And then at 12:40, they both arrive home. At 1:21, Terry uploads photos to her Facebook account, including the pictures that she took of Terry. And she did that a lot. A lot of people say she hardly had any pictures of Kyron on there. I've actually looked at her Facebook. She had tons of pictures of Kyron. And most of the pictures, they were great. She looked like a stepmom that genuinely loved this little boy. I didn't see anything that gave me any indication that she wasn't a caring stepmom.
And maybe the baby was asleep. She worked out 30 minutes.
Well, that would be weird because, let's say that, because I love the gym.
Yeah.
But I don't think I would take my sick child to the gym with me, even though I'm an avid trainer, because I would be concerned for him or her that I need to get them home, let them, just be sick at home. But it was a short workout, and maybe the medicine had started kicking in, so she felt like she had time for a really short one. But that does bother me a little bit. And then at 2, Kane gets home from work. Terry's still on the computer uploading stuff. And then at 3:30, all of them head to the bus stop to wait for Karen.
Right.
So
she's calmly loading pictures. Nothing unusual. And they go pick him up. Okay, nothing yet.
Yeah. And, they look closely at the last person to see the victim, right? So that, of course, is going to be Terry. If classes did not start until 10, why was Kyron going to his math class so early? That's the first question. Was it maybe to join his other classmates, and then as a class they were going to go to the fair? Was he supposed to sit there for an hour? Were there adults? Was he by himself that whole hour? If he was by himself, could he have wandered off? So these are questions that I have because it becomes important. Because Kyron disappeared from the school.
It could happen.
Exactly. We have a fair where you have all these people at the school that you would not normally have.
Yeah.
And if they saw a little boy just walking around, right? He would be easy pickings.
Because he's 7. They get antsy. They walk around all over the place.
Yeah.
Or it could have been someone he knew, comfortable with.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. That timeline is interesting to me because it makes me wonder if that's when he was taken. Or did he, like, walk outside, unsupervised, no one saw him, and then someone out there snatched him?
To go play a little bit with, yeah.
Or did Terry lie, and she did not take him to his classroom. Instead, she took him to the car. Okay?
All right.
So that's a possibility.
It's possible.
Now, I know there can be a lot of misinformation on websites like Reddit because everybody starts discussing the cases. But I wanted to read this section because if it's accurate, it might shed some light on these questions.
Well, wait a minute. Did anyone see him at the fair or around there?
Remember the PTA president
Yeah.
saw him. And
Okay.
so they saw him and Terry. It's just after she left, did anybody see Kyron?
That's what I'm wondering.
On June 4th, 2010, there were nearly 500 people in the building that morning. There was no sign-in or visitor badge requirements. All the exits to the building were unlocked and unmonitored. Skyline had no security cameras in place, although they do now. The doors opened at 8, and at 9, the bus kids and children whose parents weren't there to meet in their classrooms were to meet in their classrooms, and then they were going to get in small groups, which would be led by volunteer chaperones.
Right.
Some kids stayed with their parents from 9 to 10, others didn't. So what I'm getting, if this is accurate, is Terry goes up there, sees his project set up, takes a picture, I'm proud of you, have a great day at school. She leaves, and that Kyron went to his class to get ready to go to the fair with his group.
Yeah, there was 500 strangers, too.
At 8:45, when the bell rang, Terry let Kyron go to class to get into his group and tour with the other students. MCSO official stance is that no one saw Kyron after 8:45, but students actually reported seeing him after she left.
Okay.
Only 2 talked to the media. One was Kyron's desk mate, T, the boy Terry took a picture of next to his project. He said, because I guess she did his too, he said he saw Kyron in the hallway and said he's going to check out a cool electric project. Some people said this was in the basement. Ted did not say that, though, so I don't know where they're getting that from. He implied, but didn't outright say that Kyron caught up with his group later. He did outright say that the sub noticed Kyron was missing when they got back to class. She said Kyron was gone, and Miss Porter told her it was okay. Kyron probably went to the bathroom.
Oh.
So between 8:45 and then at the fair, some kids said they saw him, and then he went to look at this other project. Poof, he's gone.
In the basement.
Possibly.
Wow.
His statement was later discounted when the principal said there were no substitutes that day.
Well, there was more than one that said that, wasn't there?
Yep.
So.
But there was all the next week to help out after Kyron's disappearance. Some say his statement shouldn't have been so easily discredited because it seems by sub he meant the volunteer chaperone because that's who was leading the groups.
Well, yeah, they were young.
Mm-hmm.
But
like
sometimes
they wouldn't know the word chaperone.
Yeah. And sometimes, things like to fit in place with some officers and detectives and, set
'cause
things to their narrative that...
I could see a kid not saying chaperone.
I
Not that
can too.
age. They're
Yeah.
7, possibly 8. They're going to say sub. Okay. Or chaperone.
Right, at that age. That'd be too much of a word.
It did seem ridiculous that a teacher would just assume a child was in the bathroom, but it appears that Kyron had a problem with going to the bathroom and not telling anyone.
Oh.
There's even a picture on Terry's Facebook page from November 2009 of Kyron's class. The caption says, "Kyron's class, where is Kyron, do you ask? Yep, he went to the bathroom without telling anyone."
Did no one
Sigh.
go check the bathroom?
I don't know.
That's cute.
Now,
Where is he?
Kyron's teacher would later say that she thought Kyron was going to a doctor's appointment because they were told he had a doctor's appointment that week. But like most people, they didn't remember when. So it was on the 11th of June, and she made it on June 3rd when she took baby Kay in for the treatment. Terry talked with the doctor about Kyron's behavior. She said he'd been acting strange for a couple weeks, like staring off into space and forgetting things. So the doctor wanted his teacher to evaluate him in the classroom and gave Terry some papers to give to his teacher to have her evaluate him over the next week and then bring it back with the appointment. So it seems like his teacher might have thought when he didn't come back from the restroom that, oh, he must be at his doctor's appointment.
Right.
Okay? Terry said that she took them to his teacher that day and that the doctor said to drop him off when she picked Kyron up from school. She explained what they were there for and that she'd be back the following Thursday to get the papers. When questioned about why she wasn't concerned about Kyron's absence, she said that she thought he went to the doctor even though she hadn't returned the papers. Former MCSO official Dean McCain started the whole she was initially vague about the doctor appointment thing during an interview with CBS. And this was based on the fact that June 4th was the last day of the school. Oh. So why in the world would she even need to tell the teacher about the June 11th appointment? Well, because she needed the documents filled out.
Right.
But that is strange.
Well, sort of. Not what I think murder yet.
Yeah. Well, there's only one problem. June 4th actually was not the last day of school. It was June 15th.
Oh.
I'm reading this to show people how this stuff gets going. You know, we need to make sure we have our facts right. Because even though I feel that Terry is a poop bird, which we'll get to, I'm not sure that stuff like this is helpful because it muddies the waters.
And plus, I would think if you had papers to give to a teacher, you'd pick them up before school ended anyway.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense for her to say, I'll get them by the 11th if there's no school.
Right.
So the fact is, school did not end until June 15th. Oh. And then I'm like, wow, you know, Oregon?
Right.
I mean, what the heck, you know? So there was a 7th grader whose science fair project was displayed in the gym. He said that he saw Kyron laughing with friends in the gym without Terry. But his mother was specifically instructed not to reveal the time they had seen Kyron. They also turned over photos to law enforcement. Then there's the school employee who told Carrie she'd seen Kyron with a male chaperone after she left.
Oh.
Apparently, this was said when she and Kane went to the school after Kyron didn't get off the bus. Apparently, Kane was there when this was said, although he never confirmed, and I don't think he's ever asked. Then there's Howes, Terry's criminal attorney. He says he has multiple adult witnesses who testified to seeing Kyron after Terry left. 3 school employees were subpoenaed by Howes, Kyron's teacher, the school secretary, and the first grade teacher. On Dr. Phil, Terry said school employees testified to seeing Kyron after she left him. It's weird. Someone's lying, but who? So, like I said, there's a lot of things swirling around this. It's almost like, you know, a carcass where you got, you know, birds all around it. You got flies buzzing around. Like everybody attached this thing, and they immediately decided that Terry was involved in his death.
Once they immediately decide, it's hard to go any place.
It is. You get tunnel vision.
Yeah.
And I went back and looked at her Facebook. Like I said, she was very involved in his life. Their home life actually seemed to be pretty darn good. There was a little bit of trouble with her son who was older, but nothing that wasn't normal teenage angst. They were having some marital issues, and there are a couple things that make Terry look suspicious, but I couldn't confirm what they said she said because no one's produced those things. Like one report said that she emailed someone and talked about how much she hated Kyron because she felt he was the reason their marriage was having trouble, but no one's been able to produce the email. So if any of our listeners are able to do that, I would love to see that email. However,
if there's an email,
I did read text messages of Terry wanting to basically sleep with a couple men. That was a little bit cray-cray,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Then it doesn't make her kill her.
We ain't going to be reading those on this podcast. This is a G, you know what I'm saying, podcast. So she was very involved, and I don't think there were anything that I could find that would make me suspect her so far. What about you?
Nope, not yet.
All right, now let's go to Kiera being sick, okay? I get the Fred store appearances. Like you said, you've done that before. I've actually done that before, and I live in a smaller town. We know she was there because they have her there, right? Like, it's not like they think she showed up. They actually have evidence that she went to the 2 stores. I also, the dry cleaning, it's verified. But here's where things get weird. You're driving around for an hour and a half. We know she made a phone call. How long did she talk? Was it where she gets on the phone and she talks until 11:39?
Could be.
Has an hour-long
Didn't want to
conversation?
go home and put the baby up and everything. She
Yeah.
might have liked the conversation.
Like, me and Kent, we were laughing. I told him, I said, I'm going to record the podcast. Let's catch up. He's like, okay. So I'm driving, here. And I said, do you think we're going to hit 6 hours? And he started laughing. He said, well, let's shoot for 4. 4.5 hours later.
You talked 4.5 hours? Oh, my gosh.
Yep.
So
So
see? Yeah.
Yeah, if you're having a great conversation, I'm the only person I talk that long with is Kent. There is no way in HE double hockey sticks I have any interest talking that long. I don't mind a good conversation, not 4.5 hours.
No.
But I could see an hour. I do that with Cindy. We'll typically have an hour. Me and Elena, you're usually going on to the next task or something. So
Right.
we're usually, 30 minutes? So I could see she's on the phone. I don't know how long she talked. I don't know who it is. I don't know if it's a short call. I don't know if Kiera was screaming her head off or if she fell asleep.
Probably asleep.
I feel that if she was upset and screaming, she wouldn't been able to have a phone call. And
And whoever she was talked to would say something.
So-
I'm sure they know who it was.
I agree. And I'm thinking, okay, so you're telling me that she runs a couple errands and she has a kid dead in the back of the pickup?
I know. I agree.
I just don't see it. And there's no proof. But the next part that does bother me is her going to the gym in spite with a sick kid.
Nah, that didn't bother me.
Doesn't bother you?
Because the 30-minute time, and the babies might have been asleep. And like you said,
I
hey,
wouldn't
I'll
wake
do
her
a
up,
cute.
though.
I'd be, well, no.
She'd have to wake her up to take her to the
put it-
daycare. I wouldn't wake her up.
And then, 30 minutes, I think I'll leave because the baby and,
Keep it short.
Yeah, I could believe that.
I think she was quite selfish, actually, to take a sick kid to the gym.
I agree.
Of course, I don't know how sick she was, if at this point she's feeling better. But Rebecca Morris, the author of Boy Missing, The Search for Kyron Horman, writes that Terry bought a bottle of cold medicine that's never been found. So they're saying that she bought this cold medicine and drugged Kyron while she did all of this. Well, okay, is it accurate? Did she buy the cold medicine? Do we have the receipt? Was the medicine used to drug Kyron? And was it for the baby?
And when she bought it.
Yeah.
So
there's
that's
just-
not me.
When I research cases, you see receipts, you see documents, you see crime photos, you see all of that. And I cannot find a single bit of evidence that proves she got cold medicine. Now, she might have, but what do you mean it wasn't found? Like, okay, did she, did they, like, she put
Drink
it in the
whole
house?
bottle? I mean,
And then the cops didn't know about the cold medicine. Then by the time they found out she got cold medicine, they go to look, it's gone because they took it. I mean, it's just, there's too many things. The other thing that I tried to find out is supposedly there was a large cut on her leg and that she said she got it from dropping a weight on her leg at the gym. Again,
it could happen.
no pictures, no evidence. Who said that they had the cut on the leg? Was it Terry?
Oh, there's no picture of the cut?
Mm-mm.
Oh, well.
Was it someone else?
You got to have proof. I'm not there yet.
I'm not
innocent so far.
So here's the investigation. As stated, the police focused on Terry quick. As the last one to see Kyron, makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
All 4 of the adults took lie detector tests. Terry took 2, and she failed both.
I wonder what questions
Right.
she failed.
Lie detection tests are notoriously known for not being good, things to
Accurate
go on.
sometimes, yeah.
Well, supposedly she says that she's hard of hearing in one ear, and that caused the results. Don't know. But I note the results, but it doesn't sway me. There are some reports that her cell phone messages didn't match up with where she told police she went that day. Supposedly, she went to Sauvie Island, one of the places where law enforcement was concentrating on trying to find her. But if she did, that would have been 90 minutes. So my question is, did she tell police she went there, or did she hide it, or did she even go there at all? So there's a map, which if she drove around for an hour and a half, that would make sense. So Skyline School is up there, okay? And then Sauvie Island. Oh, this is where she drove around all over here. And then, where's my back? Is that it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so here's another route that she took that was 3 minutes. I'm having a rough time seeing my little thing here. Yeah, so basically, she's got all this driving around here that took about 20 minutes, but did she drive around on Sauvie Island for that hour and a half? Don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It doesn't look like she did.
I would think that if she did, that her phone would show that she did.
Yeah.
So maybe her phone shows that she went there, and that's why police concentrated a lot of time trying to find him over there.
Or maybe someone told them.
I think they would be able to know where all she was with her cell phone. Don't you? I mean, your cell phone
Well, probably,
pings.
but I don't know. I'm still not swayed yet, though.
I'm not
That is
either.
a little odd, but yeah.
So then, witnesses reported a white pickup that belonged to Terry that was parked at the school, and then another person was in the pickup as if they were waiting. So some have suggested that it was actually the school landscaper who has a similar truck, and that it was him and not Terry. So even that bit of evidence,
No.
you can't connect her.
If you had pictures side by side, because it says similar, that doesn't mean anything.
They're just not releasing a lot of stuff. It's really hard to get anything tangible on this case.
I'm more suspicious when they don't release things.
I know. They have to keep some things back. That way if they catch the killer, they can get them.
But this and the truck pictures.
I mean, if they were able to get this, you would think they'd be able to get it if she was at
if
Sauvie.
she was there, yeah.
And she might have gone to Sauvie.
She
I
might
don't
have.
know. But
Nothing
they're not
shows
releasing
she has,
that.
yeah. Which is odd, just to where she went and they're not releasing.
Yeah.
It's strange.
There's also the emails I mentioned before that she blamed Kyron had, quote, extreme hatred. That's from his mom. There are rumors that Terry's son, James, and Kyron didn't get along. And Kane, Kyron's dad, made James move out months before. The only problem I have with these statements is they're coming from Desiree, his mom.
Oh, well.
And she believes 100% that Terry did it. And I get it. I understand why she believes that he did it.
Because she dropped him off?
Yeah, she was the last person. She doesn't believe that Terry's being truthful. So this is all of them. This is Debbie and her husband, Kane and Terry. And you see Terry leaning on Debbie's shoulder, obviously upset. They're beside themselves. They're very, very upset.
I do see a separation between the couples.
Yeah, I'm thinking they probably thought something was up immediately. But what's sad is I actually, just from knowing like facial expressions, it actually, when you see pictures of Terry, it looks like genuine distress.
Right.
But I could be wrong. You know, people can fake that stuff.
Definitely can do that.
Yeah. But sadness is one of the hardest facial expressions to fake.
I would believe it.
So then, you know, you've got the supposed conflict between James and Kane. You've got supposed emails that I've never seen them.
No one's seen those, have they?
I don't know if she was just voicing frustration over the blended family. You know, her heavy involvement in Kyron's life seems to contradict it. Debbie also said that Terry told her, "I loved your son." Past tense.
After this all happened?
But it's coming
could
from
happen.
Debbie.
Yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that she killed him.
No. It could be she's thinking that he's dead and I loved your son.
You know, it feels like a sauna in here.
Does it? Well, let me see
Can
if I
we
can
turn
fix
down
it.
the temperature?
Hang on.
Now, if I was Kyron's mom, I would 100% be suspicious of Terry. 100. Because again, she was the last one to see him, right?
You would be suspicious of
100%. If she was the last person to see my son and she, you know, he disappears, yes, she would be my first suspect. But you have to go with the evidence, right?
And besides, at that time, you know, everybody and their brother's probably giving you advice and who they think did it, and well, she's the last one.
And they're also like
sway you.
examining behavior that normally would not be suspicious. Now everything she does is going to be suspicious.
Exactly.
And I'm not an advocate for Terry.
No.
Again, I think she's a crap bird, which we're going to get into. But not long after Kyron disappeared, marriage troubles between Kane and Terry reached a boiling point. So a month after Kyron was missing, law enforcement told Kane that his now soon-to-be ex-wife hired landscaper Rodolfo Sanchez to kill him 5 months prior.
Evidence?
Well, it's a little sketchy. So Rodolfo
what has it
worked
been?
for Kane and Terry as a landscaper. And I'm thinking it might have been like on a regular basis during the summer months like I have. And that he went to the police and said that Terry offered him $10,000 as payment to kill Kane.
But where would she get it? That's a lot of money.
They actually didn't have a money problem.
Yeah. Oh, they didn't? Oh.
She claimed Kane was mentally and physically abusive. So she gave him Kane's daily routine and thought he could make the murder look like a mugging. I guess Kane typically carried large amounts of money on his person. He worked for Intel.
Oh, okay.
Police try to set up a sting where Rodolfo showed up demanding the $10K in exchange for being silent for her wanting him to, kill her husband. So he first approached her from his vehicle. So he's parked around her house and she spoke with him, then went to her front door. Now remember, she would know who he is because he did landscaping. She called the police after the first exchange, saying that someone was demanding money from her.
Oh.
Then she called the police when he went to the door, acting like she didn't know who he was. She's either super smart or she realized it was a sting in an attempt to get her into custody so they could question her more. So she never fell for the situation here.
Right.
So what do you think? Do you think it was a sting to try to get her? Or do you think maybe she did hire someone to kill Kane?
Well, it was probably a sting to see what she would say. You know what I mean? That's so good, isn't it? I'm already done with mine. I don't think she's guilty yet. I still don't.
But what
It could
about
be one or either.
But what about the $10K and hiring someone to kill Kane?
Yeah, and they have proof of that.
They were trying to
What
get
was
proof.
on the tape? I mean,
But she didn't admit to anything, and she called the police both times saying a stranger was trying to demand money.
That's not proof.
The fact that she's acting like she doesn't know him,
Yeah,
little bit
that's
weird.
a little suspicious.
Then
Unless she had been having an affair with him.
one of her exes, good point, Sean Ray, stated that back in 1990, he and Terry were eating food at a park when a man with a gun came out of the bushes and Terry yelled, "He's here for you." The man never pulled the trigger. I don't know if he was robbing them. I don't know if he was a hitman. Investigators supposedly told Ray that an inmate gave an account of being hired to commit a murder that matched the incident. So that sounds like gossip and possible entrapment.
I think so too.
So again, it's just this weird.
Yeah.
This is the most gossip, rumor milled case I've ever done.
Hadn't seen much proof yet.
It's kind of like you're trying to pick up sand.
Yes.
You can't get anything that you can attach to.
No.
You have evidence that you've been messing around with sand, but there's nothing concrete.
Oh my Lord. Oh my gosh.
That just
Did you
flew
just
out.
make this up?
Yeah, it
that
just
was
rolled.
good. That was good, Sherry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome.
Now, here's another interesting fact, but I personally don't believe it as much as people make it out to be. On the day Terry is driving all over Tarnation, her friend, Dee Dee Spiker, left work abruptly around 11:30 and was gone for 3 hours. Some reports say an hour and a half. She was working in some type of gardening or landscaping work that day. Most people report that she bought Terry a burner phone during that time. But here's the reality. The burner phone happened later.
Oh.
So what they're saying is they think this Dee Dee chick helped Terry get rid of Kyron or brought her a burner phone so that people wouldn't know where all she went to get rid of Kyron's body. But that's not when the burner phone happened. And the reason they got burner phones is because she, Terry, and another friend knew that police were monitoring their conversations and they didn't want the police to have their conversations.
Right.
Now, Dee Dee has cooperated fully and testified before a grand jury.
Oh no.
So, but she's not saying her friend did anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
She just got the phone at a later date.
Yep.
Yeah, see, if you're in the police and being interrogated, you would, especially
Interrogated?
women. Yeah. Isn't that what I said?
No,
I
you just
two
said it a couple
things.
times.
Yeah.
Interrogated.
Well, I thought I said it wrong the first time. You'd think she'd crack the friend, and
Yeah.
she didn't.
Yeah.
So
So there's
yeah,
no telling.
no.
I mean, she might have had an errand. She might have decided she's tired of working for a few hours. I don't know. Okay. My thoughts are that she left at 11:30.
yeah.
We know that Terry arrived at the gym 9 minutes later, so you don't have time to do anything. She wouldn't have had time to meet Terry at the gym. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that Dee Dee's abrupt leaving had to do with anything. However, she did refuse to say what she did during that time publicly, but it's recorded that she was collecting unemployment checks at the time, and she didn't want to admit that she was working.
Oh.
Yeah. So at this point, Kane is suspicious of Terry's involvement, and he started divorce proceedings within a month of Kane's disappearance. He cited that she had undergone some personality changes, possible postpartum depression, and he believes she was involved in his disappearance. He also stated that she had become an alcoholic, and he wanted custody of Kiera. After the hitman incident, Kane kicked Terry out of the house. The judge granted his request and put a restraining order on him.
Oh.
On July 12th, if you hear the chair in the background, that's
Yeah.
best friend sitting down. Just go ahead. You just go ahead, girl. You just pull that chair out. Okay. So on July 12th, Kane requested the courts to hold Terry in contempt for violating the restraining order because she started a sexual relationship with one of Kane's friends within days of their separation and shared legal info with him. And it's those are the texts I read, and my goodness.
Oh, man.
My goodness.
You know what? The marriage was in trouble before.
Oh,
The
yeah.
little boy missing.
Very sexually explicit. I mean, stuff that you would probably find in a porn movie.
Oh, my gosh.
Their divorce was finalized 3 years later.
Some friend.
On December 31st. Now, what was interesting, the text messages were mostly sexually explicit on her end. The guy didn't seem to be engaging much with her. There was a little bit of engagement, but not much.
Right.
So, yeah, she was,
So 3 years?
Took
Some
them 3
states
years.
take longer.
And she also had an arrest record. Let me just pull up that photo.
Did he know that?
He does now. That's the school. That's the front of the school.
Oh.
So
she looks completely different.
She does. Yeah. When her and Kane met, she was a bodybuilder. You know, the ones that have no boobs and the huge muscles.
Look like
stuff.
men. Mm-hmm.
That's what she did. And that's how they met. And he was an avid worker outer too. I know that's not
a word.
But, well, whatever. I mean, you say words that don't exist all the time.
But everyone expects them out of me.
That's true. I do know that Terry was for sure. So now we're getting into for sure's. Arrested 6 years later on July 4th in Marysville, California for stealing a gun from a roommate.
Oh.
She was booked into Yuba County Jail. She posted bail. Then a couple days before...
What'd she want the gun for?
Don't know.
Oh.
Then a couple of days...
No good.
Right. I mean, stealing somebody's gun, that ain't cool.
I know.
And then a couple of days before Christmas of 2016, she was arrested again for driving a stolen car outside of San Francisco. She was booked and made bail, but all the charges were dropped later due to insufficient evidence.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So that's
sort
her
of like
mugshot.
this case, insignificant evidence.
Insignificant? Well, you downed your drink.
It was so
it was
good.
Janine's drink, and she just like sucked
Janine's
that sucker up.
Tropical drink.
My goodness.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That was delicious.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what all other charges, like where they went or anything, but Terry's life has gone downhill since then. I'm not sure if it has anything to do, though, with her being involved in the death of Kyron or the kidnapping of Kyron. I just think if she is innocent and she didn't sound very stable before, and then she's being accused of murdering her stepson, whose life would not be jacked up?
And she was an alcoholic, her husband said.
Yep.
Or the beginning of, so
Maybe she stole the gun to sell it to get money.
Oh, that's true. For drugs or bail or whatever.
I don't know if she was ever on drugs, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but definitely alcohol. Yeah.
Which is unusual for a bodybuilder to the extent she was
at that point, obviously. She wasn't
building any body there, but
I mean, she was expanding it, but not not building it.
Good for her.
Yeah. Now, Desiree, this is so sad. Kyron's mom. The only reason they had Kyron is because she had medical problems. Okay, when Desiree was young, when Desiree Young and then Kane were married, and Desiree was 8 months pregnant with Kyron, Kane had an affair with Terry. And they met at the gym. Like I said, she was a bodybuilder. He liked training. So Desiree and Kane divorced, and Desiree got custody of Kyron when he was 5 years old.
Right.
Until he was 5 years old. Then she was diagnosed with kidney failure, and some reports say it's because she took a non-FDA approved medicine, and it began to shut down her kidneys.
Oh.
So she had to go to Canada for treatment, and Kane and Terry agreed to watch over Kane while she was gone. And then when she came back, they refused to return him to her custody.
Oh, man, you always got to have paperwork. Always.
So Oregon law said that because she did not have paperwork, she did not surrender custody in a proper way, that she basically gave the boy to Kane, or to Kane and Terry.
Sad.
So I want to show an age progressed photo of him.
So they didn't even arrest her, so that's good.
No, there's no evidence.
Yeah. Oh, nice looking kid.
Yeah. Yeah. So he was, in conclusion, he was a second grader at Skyline Elementary School in Portland, Oregon, despite having, because I want to end with describing him. Despite having relatively poor vision, he embraced the world around him with a huge smile, oversized graphic T-shirts, and metal frame glasses. His glasses provide a glimpse of his advanced math skills and his growing knowledge of sign language. Kyron's love for life was evident in his frequent trips to aquariums, zoos, forests, and beaches. Above all, he was surrounded by a loving family and a community who cherished him. Whether he was excelling in school, because he was really good at schoolwork, exploring nature, going to Disney World, Kyron shared the beauty of life with others through his infectious smile. His disappearance sparked the largest search for a missing person in Oregon history. It started at the school with 60 to 70 people already there when trained searcher teams arrived. They searched storage areas, crawl spaces, classrooms, offices, all the areas. Kyron's house was searched. The train tunnel near the school where sometimes kids went to was searched. The surrounding area 2 miles out, plus Sauvie Island that was 5 miles away, all of it was searched. It was a missing person case at this point, and on June 5th, the FBI and National Guard were involved. Alerts were sent to student families requesting all students who were present on June 4th to come back Sunday so they could be debriefed. By Sunday night, the case is changed to a missing endangered child case. They searched for 10 days, and then it was changed to a criminal investigation. 1,300 people from Oregon, Washington, and parts of Northern California helped in the search efforts. There's a $50,000 reward being offered for information that leads to this case being solved. All tips should be reported to the Multnomah County Sheriff's Office at 503-988-0560. You can also call the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children at 1-800-THE-LOST. So,
You know,
what do you think?
I think they should have concentrated, 500 people to that fair, and they didn't monitor who's coming in or name tags, but they saw him with that man.
The chaperone?
Yeah. If he was a chaperone.
Right. Okay.
He might still be alive.
Do you think then that Terry had anything to do with it?
No.
I don't either. And that's where the controversy is.
Being a jerk doesn't make you a killer.
Yeah. Most people believe she killed this little boy. And I'm sorry if this offends anybody, but I think she had nothing to do with this murder. I believe it was a stranger on stranger abduction. I believe he was taken from the school or he wandered out into the parking lot. I believe that...
And we don't know it's a murder.
He was murdered. 100%.
Probably.
I mean, it's
no
rare
proof yet.
They come back and return home. That's why they did this age progress, which is on the website at outlineofamurder.com. That's why they did that age progression. But I don't think she had anything to do with it. I think she was a good stepmom. I'm guessing that he was probably taken by a man.
Right.
And that he was killed probably pretty darn quick after.
Like the man they couldn't find.
And I wonder, was it a chaperone or that someone thought he was with a chaperone so they didn't get a good look at him? You know what I mean? Like if he was with a man, the 500 people that aren't normally there would not have known that wasn't a school official, right?
Friends of friends of friends, many people know they have these school activities. It's like a candy store for a pedophile.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he was taken from that school.
Yeah.
And he's probably dead.
Yeah, I don't think she had anything to do with it.
See, me neither. I'm pretty much 100% that she had nothing to do with this. Again, I think she's a poop bird, but I don't think she killed Kyron.
Wonder what her life is like now.
I don't know. The last updates I got were the ones I shared. They did go on Dr. Phil. I mean, it was interesting if anybody wants to watch it. I mean, they talked about this case and all that. I think it's pretty crappy. I mean, if you look at Kane, he loves his kids. He got custody of Kiara. He got custody of Kane. He didn't give them back. I wish he would have gave them back.
Yeah.
Because
especially
he'd probably
her, she was
here.
a good mother and loved him. Yeah.
Yep. I wish he wouldn't have kept them. But
It's terrible.
it is what it is. It's not his fault that Kyron disappeared. He didn't. I don't think he had anything to do with it. But I am so curious if the listeners believe. So here's my question. If the listeners believe that she legitimately tried to hire someone to kill Kane, I want to know that, what they think. Or do they think it was a sting to try to get some type of charge against her so they could get her into custody and really just lower the hammer to try to figure out where
Could have been
Kyron
a
was.
sting.
But
if it was, I don't know if I'd answer the door if I didn't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
then if he was a landscaper, was he the landscaper that she knew really well? Or did he work for their landscaping company and she wouldn't have even known him from Adam?
Right.
If
That's
she saw
true.
him.
That's true.
I have so many questions.
I know.
I really feel this podcast was probably more questions than anything.
Yeah.
And me slurping.
There's more questions.
All right.
That drink was so good. We need another one.
I don't know if you do. I'm going to have coffee and my chocolate. All right. Are you ready? You're going to have to do two.
Yes.
And if you get this wrong, I'm going to do something to you. I don't know what, but I will figure something out.
Tell me what you're going to figure out.
Oh, I have a list. I have a retribution mom's list that me and Elena made up. Seriously? Are you serious?
Hang on.
Are you?
I am. Well, you pressure me. It's hard. Hang on. Hang on. You're getting me upset over here. It's it's not be safe. It's be rude is mine.
Be smart. Be
smart.
rude. Don't be a victim. Nope, it's over.
I was going to say
over.
be smart.
I'm going to take your part away.
I was going to say
I'm going to take your part away.
I was going to say
It's
that
over.
just before you ripped it and
Over.
said it.
Outline of a Murder is a Mr. Joseph production. What do you think, Joseph?